Hello and welcome to Walker Tea Review. Glad you could join us. I'm Jason Walker. We have just celebrated the Chinese New Year, but that doesn't mean teas are limited to China by any means. We've got teas, the first flush from Darjeeling coming up very soon, and the early flushes of the first flushes of Japanese teas are coming up very soon as well. So we're going to be looking at a Japanese tea today. It's a green tea, and we're going to go ahead and get this started. This is a GrandTea Sencha from GrandTea, and GrandTea is worth checking out. They're based in Hong Kong. You have teas that they offer, of course, and they have quite a selection of tea ware. For example, this Gaiwan is a GrandTea Gaiwan. I think it's about 180 milliliters. Is that right? Less than 4 ounces, 3 to 4 ounces. So we're going to get out our teaspoon here. By the way, if you want to join us for tea tastings, there's a green button right up above that you can click on, and it will tell you what our schedule of upcoming tea tastings that we're going to be doing. So you can order in advance, have your teas ready, and join along. Or you can find out about equipment like a Gaiwan, where to get a good tea kettle, those kind of things. So we're going to add, what you see here is a teaspoon, and it is nearly full. There's a little bit, about a quarter, a fifth, or less at the back of the spoon it's not covered. But that should be enough to cover the bottom of our Gaiwan. And Gaiwan is actually a Chinese preparation method, but it's fairly similar to the the standard universal tea tasting cup that is used. Similar principle. It allows hot air to rise up very quickly. So we're in good hands using a Gaiwan for a Japanese tea. I know there are others out there who cringe at the idea of crossing tea cultures, but I think this gives us good even plane for comparing teas. So we're going to cover that with our lid and let that sit for just a few minutes. We don't want that to oversteep. Japanese green tea is generally quite sensitive to heat, so you don't want a very strong water temperature. You want something that is just beginning to kind of rumble or slightly bubble. Temperatures of around 140 degrees is what you often hear suggested. But to move on, actually I'm going to take the lid off of that so the heat doesn't trap in there too much. This will allow it to cool faster and preventing overheating there. This is, as we said, from GrandTea. This is their SupremeSencha, otherwise known as their Joe Sencha. And we're going to give this one a look. As with all of our tea tastings, we look at the dry leaf, the wet leaf, and the liquor. And of course, we're starting with the dry here. Okay, first off, you're getting some strong kind of marine smells. There's a little bit of a fishy smell. There's a little bit of a seaweed smell. The vegetable smells fairly fainter than the marine type smells. If any vegetable smell, it's a light spinach type of smell. I should also mention about this tea while we're looking at this. This is an organic tea. It's organic. Now there are different standards of organic. This one is certified or classified as organic according to the JAS, which is Japanese or Japan or agricultural standards, and EcoCert, which is a European form of organic certification. This tea comes in at 50 grams, is sold for $6. I almost forgot to mention that. Now, as we're looking at these leaves, what you're seeing is, of course, because of the process that senchas go through, you're going to get different sizes, different flakes of the tea. So you're getting very fine filaments. You're getting some needle size that are maybe half an inch or so in length. You're getting colors that are, this one's more of a deep green with a tinge of yellow to it, moving over towards a greenish yellow color. Okay, these are not the finest, most needle-like thin that I've seen as far as the rolling process that these go through. So these may not have been rolled as thoroughly or as tightly as some of the others that we've come across here on Walker Tea Review. I'm getting actually some stem pieces or some lighter color, yellowish color, and that indicates that you're getting some stem or some little very tender twig pieces in there as well. So that kind of takes a look at, gives us coverage of our dry leaf. We're going to go and get these leaves poured off so that we can look at the wet leaf and stop this steeping process now. Got our lid with a Gaiwan, pretty simple. Take your lid, lean it over so that the higher part is over towards your, away from the glass. This side leans inward towards the inside of the bowl. It gives you an opening to pour. Middle finger, thumb on the rim, index finger there on the lid, and there you go. Nice smooth pour. Get those last few drops, because there's a bit of intensity in those last few drops that have lingered down at the bottom of the cup, and you want those in there to even out, smooth out the intensity of the overall cup there. So we'll let that swirl a little bit. Bring those flavors full circle, round and round in there. What else do we have? Okay, take a look at the wet leaf now. It's got a, it's already got a kind of a metallic bite to the smell. So I'd say that doesn't actually bode well for this, because oftentimes you'll detect a kind of a sweet, creamed spinach type smell, and you're getting some of that here, although it's not very pronounced. Okay, leaves, as far as looking at the leaves, now these fine wrapped filaments that were kind of needle shaped have unfurled, and you're getting sections of leaves. Unless there's a lot of delicate treatment done, you do not find a lot of senchas and Japanese greens, as far as, gyokuro, those types, that have a full leaf intact. That's there because there's some heavy steaming processes that go on there, and the rolling aspect that they just don't survive in intact. So you're getting some dark, rich green colors here. I'll go ahead and set these out so that you can get an idea. Sections here, some of the larger sections, maybe like a quarter of a leaf as far as the maximum size here. Deep green, favoring towards the yellowish tinge than the bluish side, and that's what you've got, and that's what it is. We're going to go and move finally to our liquor. We want to look at our color here. This is not the brightest, most vibrant green. This one's edging over towards the yellowish tinge. Okay. I should note as well, we do use a wine glass for a purpose. It allows us to look at the color together. It also allows us to stick our nose in the cup and get some deep smells of this. Get a couple just to kind of get it fair, get a balanced approach. And across both of those, there was a bit of a creamy, spinachy type smell that gave us the impression, this one's going to feel good in our mouth. It's going to feel creamy. So we'll have to wait and see if that holds true. All right, and then next, finally, we're going to drink, and we're going to slurp so that air can kind of unlock more flavor compounds in our mouth. Our nose, it can travel up, steam and the smell can kind of travel up into our nose as well and detect more of that. Okay, did detect a fishy note in there. It hit very early on as the tea was coming into my mouth. Not so much of the spinach creamy feel. The texture or the feel in the mouth really is dominated by a metallic type of feel. So you get this metallic astringency. It's like you've almost like you've been licking a metal pipe kind of thing, or you know, you left it sucked on an empty spoon for a while. The texture is not as creamy as I thought it was going to be, as I said. Got a bit of a salty sensation to it as well. Let's give it another shot. Yeah, if there is a vegetable note, it's light, it's subtle, it's asparagus. It's not it by no means dominates the conversation, and oh, that's a good point. In previous tastings, I pulled out, it was more like tasted more like a Brussels sprout. There's that kind of a cabbagey Brussels sprout type taste, and I do detect it in this one as well. Probably more so than the asparagus, actually. The creaminess in previous tastings as well was a little bit higher. We had like a medium low creaminess, so it's not as creamy as others that we've compared or looked at here on Walker Tea Review. The aftertaste was metallic, and so because we looked at this tea and we said, okay, one, it didn't have that range of flavor profiles that gave us a bit, that will often give a bit of a sweetness to it, a vegetable type sweetness to it, whether that's a spinach type sweetness, or that's usually the dominant one, or others you may get a little bit of a green bean type or asparagus type, a little bit of sweetness in that. But no, that was not significantly present here, so that wasn't there to talk about. The astringency, that metallic feel, kind of off-putting, it was dominating. Aftertaste kind of carried on a bit of that metallic feel to it, and a little bit of that saltiness to it. The marine, that fishy type note, I don't find that as much in some of the higher scored senchas that we've looked at. So that's why we ended up giving this tea from GrandTea's an 81. Not their best showing, but then again, GrandTea's is a Hong Kong based. They specialize more in Chinese teas, in pu'ers, in oolongs. So I would really go to GrandTea's and first look at their, like I said, their oolongs and their pu'ers for stronger performance. Their greens as well. They do have strong showings, decent to strong showings in their Chinese greens as well, especially with the Qingming Festival coming up in April. Then you'll start to see, after that, you'll start to see a stronger performance and offerings of green teas. So, again, come back, join us for next time. We're going to be looking at lots of oolongs. We're going to be looking and counting down the days, of course, to those green tea and Darjeeling First Flush Harvest. So come back and get ready, taste with us here at Walker Tea Review.